Not far from the lights of downtown Pittsburgh, a strange and disturbing story is being uncovered. A menacing threat to student life is emerging. Now, there is a virus out there unlike anything the world has ever seen. It is potentially more dangerous than any before.
It's pretty amazing how widespread it has been.
Now we are in a race to understand the virus and make plans to prevent it from spreading.
That's the epidemic, and your grandchildren will suffer.
It was here at Carnegie Mellon University where we found patient 0. A perfectly healthy student suddenly started displaying symptoms that were beyond ordinary stress. We decided to follow her with this illness and uncovered something that we could never have imagined. Dr. Vocolo, a Carnegie Mellon expert in inorganic biochemistry, was the first to notice the signs of this disease.
The stages are something that's like cold-like symptoms or flu-like symptoms, and then of course this very sleepy state, not maybe perhaps getting good sleep and therefore relying on caffeine excessively, and then just major exhaustion just coming from that. But then it's going to a stage of where it's actually causing shaking or lack of voluntary movement.
Victims were dropping everything, unable to do work. They were no longer functional within society. Then it started spreading.
And all hell broke loose.
I think I started screaming.
How could this have happened? How could a single individual infect over half the students on campus? Here at the Department of Public Health, Jason D'Antonio, cellular molecular pathologist, is the leading researcher for this illness and is working to uncover the nature of this disease.
The name of the disease that we're talking about today is called PT1, and it stands for Perdita tenacii, which is essentially a microbe that we believe most or all humans are colonized with or infected with upon birth.
But if we're all infected at birth, why now?
Stress is known to impair the immune response. It causes the development of reactive oxygen species, which essentially damage DNA, but it also sets up this impaired immune balance, where if it is a microbial infection, it could penetrate into the nerve system and retrograde infect deeper into the body, resulting in infection in the spinal cord. If it affects motor nerves, that might explain why we have this motor loss in individuals who are literally dropping things. And so we typically see a significant bump from about 12 to 15%, all the way up to maybe 38 to 45% of students showing positivity.
Dr. Ghosh, a Carnegie Mellon academic advisor, provides insight to the stress culture at universities.
I think we have also created this phenomenon that unless you are stressed, you are really not a CMU student. But it's become part of quote-unquote stress culture. You say there are things you are supposed to do, or else you are looked down upon. That cannot be the answer. But the biggest single thing is to imagine this beast outside my cave. There is no beast. It's my own cave. I am the lord of this cave. The animals are in my head. I believe that every student whom we are taking, in my case, mainly physics majors, but also others, is our job to protect them and make the best of them. So I know firsthand, particularly with physics majors here, how bad it is. And I'm told that it's going to be bad because that's the nature of the problem.
But stress isn't the only reason why this disease has become so prevalent.
Well, stemming from the fact that we believe that it's a microbial infection, we believe that skin contact, particularly through high five, is the root cause.
We found that due to all the increase of the high five stations on campus, there's been a lot of spread via that way.
Well, I'd say we probably have to rethink the high five stations, maybe think about putting some hand gel at least at each one of the high five stations, maybe thinking about alternative approaches to dealing with the stress culture on campus.
Dr. Vicolo has made great strides in the research for a potential cure.
It's found that in a lot of diseases, perhaps like this one, that there is a decreased dopamine production. And so things like perhaps depression and of course this involuntary motion are just a couple examples of diseases like this where you have this lack of chemical. So the big concern is trying to understand how to, in the instance where this disease is spread, how could we promote or re-promote dopamine production. A drug that might enhance this production, the ability to also have a different molecule related to this that could have the same effect, or maybe a safe kind of way to deliver dopamine alternatively, for some way we can mimic how the brain transmits that. That could be an effective way of doing this, whether it's a drug or a different delivery system or infusing cells maybe that have the capacity to do this. These are all some possibilities and perhaps thoughts that are being done currently on related diseases. So that is a possible pathway that we can consider for potential curing or curtailing.
Despite this research, the administration has been reluctant to admit that this is more than just ordinary stress.
This is all over the country.
Neurons that are not producing dopamine die. I just didn't know how far we go.
Now, every day, more and more people are becoming victims to this deadly disease.
You are our children.
Is there a cure? That is a very good question.
It could happen to any community, anywhere. Wherever stress and high fives thrive, PT1 follows.